So some of you might have seen my recent video where I reviewed my TriCast Excellence 980 pole, where I told you that I recently have left TriCast. So what I decided to do is look to get a new pole. And the pole I've gone for is the Daiwa Connoisseur G90. A lot of people might be surprised that I've gone for a G90 as it's sort of a mid-range pole. Right, so we're out here today at Makins fishery and I'm fishing with the new Daiwa Connoisseur G90 Pro pole. Now, I've actually had the original G90 pole for about 4 years, ever since I left TriCast, and I was looking to buy a pole and I was definitely wanting to go for a Daiwa pole, to be honest. And the reason is basically because everyone I spoke to who fished with a Daiwa pole just told me how good and reliable the poles were. Now, the issue what I had when I actually left TriCast is I couldn't afford to go for one of the top poles. Now, obviously, for the fishing that I'm doing, I do, a lot of the big events, qualifiers and festivals and stuff. I was worried that if I didn't have sort of the top of the range pole, that I might struggle to be able to compete. Now, speaking to Tom Scully, who actually had a G90 at the time as well, he was telling me that this wouldn't be the case and how good that pole is. Just had a little indication there. I'm just going to position my rig again. He actually told me how good that pole was, and that he thought it was definitely worth getting one of them poles, getting myself off to a start with Daiwa poles, and then I could always upgrade in the future. And that's what I did. I actually bought a second-hand G90 off Matt Godfrey when the new Guru poles were coming out at a similar time. Decided to buy that second-hand off him. Got a few top kits to go with it. Got some short kits and a few matching power kits, and started fishing with it. And I probably used that pole for all my fishing for about 2 years, and it's just absolutely brilliant. I just love this range of poles basically because you can just do anything with them. You can sort of use and abuse them and they just won't let you down. In sort of 4 years of having a Connoisseur G90, I actually never sort of ever broke a section. I've got little dings and dinks in it from lots of fishing, but I've never actually broke a section, which I was one. As I went to lay my rig in then, whether I foul up that, I don't know, it might just be a little F1 that took it on the way in. But yeah, they were just so reliable, and for the sort of fishing I was doing at the time, which was, like I say, a lot of qualifiers and festivals and stuff, but on like F1 venues where I'm fishing with a short kit and a short boat, it was just faultless. Now, the only fault that I could potentially give it is if you were to come to venues, maybe a bit like this here at Makins, where I'm fishing across and it's sort of a full 16 metres, nice little Makins stocky F1. But yeah, you're fishing sort of full 16 metres, you're fishing to islands, you're having to be really accurate. That old G90 probably did lose a little bit of its stiffness and lightness when you put that 16 metre section in. Now, that's the reason, that's where you tend to want to, if you're going to be doing that a lot, to look for going for, one of the top of the range AZ Pro poles, or, your sort of Arity range of poles in the Daiwa range, because that's where you're going to get that stiffness and lightness from at that long length. Now, this new one, the Pro, is brilliant still at 16. It's actually surprised me the massive difference at that length that this pole has. Now, obviously, if that's going to be a massive improvement at 16, you can imagine how good this pole is at 13 and 14 and a half as well. I don't know how they've managed to do it. Obviously, there is a few little changes. Obviously, the new professional top kits, I think, are a big step up from sort of the old interelastic kits what Daiwa did. I actually don't personally use them for my style of fishing because I tend to use sort of the old style two-piece short kits and a lot of the original match kits for a lot of the fishing what I'm doing. But these new professional kits I know make a big difference to this pole. Also, they've changed sort of the finish on some of the sections. I think, you know, you've got a different finish on the number 4. That definitely makes it a little bit better balanced at the top end. And also changed, another little F1, changed the number 8 section. The old number 8 section had graphics on. This new number 8 section, I've noticed, has got no graphics on. Presume that's gonna, you know, take a little bit of the weight away in the middle part of the pole as well. And it's just all around better balanced. And I've been basically, since I got this pole just after the Pole Masters in June, I've actually not used any other pole because I've been trying to give this a good test and see what I thought of it. I've used it, like I say, in Fishermania qualifiers. Managed to qualify using it at Lindome on Laurel's Lake. Fished it at full 16 that day, shallow and mugging, catch some big carp. Actually used it fishing up to a tree that had a big snag on, and I was pulling really hard to get the fish away from the snag. And it just didn't let me down, and I just think that's the thing, and that's the, if I could give, you know, one word to sum up these poles to people, it's just reliability. They just, you can do anything with them, and you can be confident that they're going to be strong, they're going to be stiff enough and light enough that you can fish with them with confidence and know that you can't get much better in terms of performance. I think that one was foul hooked, but never to worry, I'm going to go in again and see if we can get another one. But yeah, that's, you know, my first thoughts on this new pole is definitely that, you know, there is a big difference between the old one, and like I say, I love my old pole, so I actually don't know when I'll next be using my THIS Pro. This is how much I actually like this pole. So now obviously today, the sort of fishing what we're doing here at Makins, we're fishing up to the island, and it's like I say, we're fishing with a short top kit and a short number 4, and we've got the new F1 extension. Now I've actually only got a prototype blank section of this that I was given just to have a go of, because I do a lot of this style of fishing with short kits and short boats, just to sort of see what I thought of it. And I think it's a really, really good addition for any anglers that are fishing for F1s. Just takes that pole back up to a full 16 meters. So that, you know, when you are fishing with short kits, short number 4s, you've still got that full length, and you know if you're going to places with 16 meter pole limit, you know that you can fish at a full 16 and be confident you're fishing within the rules. It's really important, because, you know, all these fisheries you go to nowadays have got different rules. You can see how fishable that pole still is at that length and how stiff it is. So to sum up this pole, I would say that I think it's probably one of the best poles I've ever used, if not being up there for competing with my THIS Pro, because I just feel so confident when I'm using this pole. It's just one of them where I know how strong it is. It's, the old ones never let me down, as my THIS Pros never let me down, to be fair, but when you fish with this pole, you can feel how strong the sections are. You know, generally sort of cheaper poles in ranges, I wouldn't say this is a cheap pole, but, you know, slightly lower, more middle range poles generally tend to be that little bit stronger, and it's exactly the case with this pole. It's super strong. There's a fish. But not only is it super strong, it's also more than stiff enough at sort of 16 meters for fishing across like what we're doing today. You know, you could fish for silverfish with it, and I'm sure I will be doing during the winter when I'm doing my sort of silverfish campaigns, the qualifiers and leagues that I fish. And I just think it's, if I was to say to someone said to me, honestly, you know, I can spend whatever on a pole, what would you buy? I would probably tell them to buy this. I just feel it's just probably one of the best all-round poles what you're going to find out on the market. Nice carp, giving me the run around. Lovely fish on a brilliant pole at a brilliant fishery.